Hey guys, this video is going to be pretty hard for me to make. It's going to be pretty tough for me to make. Because I have to admit something, I have to tell you guys something that might change the course of this channel. It might change the course of history, I don't know. There's going to be some broken hearts, there's going to be some broken minds. Some people might have to go to therapy for what I'm going to say. But here it is. I am not a survivalist. I know, tears are shedding, hearts are broken, minds are ruined right now. I'm not a survivalist. I know. I never said I was one though. So let's get into the video. Guys, Time Preparedness, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are discussing survivalism and prepping. A lot of people like to put survivalism and prepping together, and a lot of people like to say that they are the same thing, that they are the same idea, the same concept. And in an idea, in a theory, they kind of are, right? As a prepper, I'm preparing for emergencies, so I stock up on rice and beans and Spam and this and that and the other, and I'm preparing for an emergency. However, on the survivalist side, they are also preparing for an emergency. But it's different, because they are preparing to be lost in the woods during the winter. They are preparing to break their ankle when they're 50 miles away from civilization. They are preparing for their plane to go down in the desert, even though they never visited the desert. A lot of people like to say, well, if you're one, you're the other. If you are a survivalist, you need to be the world's greatest prepper, and if you are a prepper, you need to be the world's greatest survivalist. But they're not the same. They're not the same idea. But yet, I see a lot of people getting mad, upset, butthurt because other people don't follow their logic. There's a lot of great channels that are survivalist, and they teach survivalist things in every single video that they put out, if not every other video. But then there's some people who put out like survivalist content 10 years ago and haven't talked about it since. I never once claimed to be a survivalist. I've never once claimed to be a survival instructor. I never claimed to watch my channel to survive in the woods. That's not what we do here. We practice our bug out bags. We walk 5, 10, 12 miles with them. We test water filters, solar generators, solar cooking systems, products that would help the apartment preppers, the average Joe preppers, the soccer mom preppers, the single parent preppers, the preppers who have no land, the preppers who have all the land. We help people get prepared on this channel. We don't teach them to go out, run off into the woods. But one thing I've noticed is that when a survivalist has his ideas and he comes to a prepping channel, the preppers are wrong. And it doesn't matter what you say, if you don't agree with what he says, you're wrong. It's an interesting concept, and I've been seeing it more and more, because these genres are mixing. They go to one channel and the guy claims that he's an ultimate survivalist and he's the ultimate prepper and this and that and the other, he's a survival instructor. Oh yeah, cool, I'm going to listen to this guy. But he goes to another channel and he says, well, this guy doesn't talk anything about survival. That would be like me going to a, I don't know, Krispy Kreme donut review channel and bitching and complaining that they're not reviewing Mountain House meals. That's not what their channel's about. That's not what their market is about. Why am I going to take my ideologies and say, well, you're not doing it the way I'm doing it? It makes no sense to me. Do I think you should know some basic survival skills? Yes. Like what? How to build shelter in the woods. How to navigate in the woods. How to find rescue yourself so you don't die in the woods. How to filter water to the best of your abilities so you don't get sick and shit yourself in the woods. What I don't teach, what I don't tell people, is to go run off into the woods the first sign of danger. Why? Because that is the dumbest stuff I have ever heard. But there's a lot of channels who aren't survivalist channels who are telling people that they need to go live in the woods. They need to have the skills, the know-how, the knowledge to go survive in the woods at the first sign of danger. Any hurricane in history, any tornado in history, any financial recession in history, any hyperinflation scenario in history, have you seen anyone bail off into the woods and survive long term? No. That's why I don't teach survivalism. Everyone should have a basic Boy Scout level of survivalism. Very simple, very basic knowledge to keep you alive in case you do get lost, and how to find your own rescue. What I'm not going to be teaching you, and what I don't think others should be teaching you, is how you can survive long term in the woods being off the grid when they themselves aren't doing it. Or worse, a commenter that can provide zero proof and zero evidence of anything he's fixing to say says, hell, I've been living off the grid since 1969. I've been living off the grid for almost 50 years now. I'm only 35, 37, 40 years old, but I've been living off the grid for almost 75 years now. It drives me insane. It drives me up the wall. Again, I want to go to a car channel and ask them why they don't talk about Architect. I want to go to a homesteading channel and ask them why they're not doing Krispy Kreme donut reviews. It's not their market. Now, could I start combining things? Could I start extending my reach and start doing more survivalism things? Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, oh, I'm an expert survivalist, now I'm a survivalist instructor, if I don't have the video proof to back it up. And that's always been my thing with YouTube. It's always been my thing with the internet, is you can be whoever you want to be. You can pretend to be whoever you want to be. The guy that's been living off the grid since 1969, he's probably like some 13-year-old in freaking China. And guys, I could easily come out here and say, listen to me, look at what I can do. I'm an expert survivalist and I can eat gummy worms out of a bag in the middle of the woods in my backyard. But I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to give off that impression that I'm a survivalist expert. I'm a survivalist instructor. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want you to be prepared for storms, for disasters, for job loss, for death in the family, for events that are going to occur. I want you to have the information and the ideas and the skills and the gear and everything you need and the food on hand prepared for what life might bring at you. What I don't want to teach you, what I don't want to tell you, is to run off into the woods. Because that's stupid. That's going to get people killed. Hell, it's interesting because some of these survivalist channels are mad that people are running off into the woods and dying, and then complaining about it, but then they themselves are the ones that are telling people to go out and live in the woods. It's weird. It's confusing. I'm conflustered about it, right? And some people might say, well, hell, you've never been in a survival scenario in your life. That's why you don't promote survivalism. You're right. I have never once had to rely on my set of skills to keep my ass alive for multiple days at a time. Chances are neither of you, but we're not going to talk about it, right? Why haven't I ever had to rely on my skills to keep myself alive? Because I was smart enough to get out of the situations before they got bad. I'll give you two examples. Number one, North Dakota, 2012, 2013, wintertime. Dumb 18, 19, 20-year-old, had my first four-wheel drive truck and I thought I was invincible. So it's late at night, it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I decide I'm going to drive up to the lake above base. Left leads you to the lake. A right led you down to some farmer's field. Again, North Dakota, it had snowed like 7 foot in the last 2 months. So I'm driving down to this old farmer dirt road field. I'm just driving, man. I'm booking it. 30, 40 miles an hour on that road. I hit a snowbank. Get plowed off into the ditch. Snow is up to my window. So I have to crawl out the passenger side. So the thought starts running into my mind. What am I going to do? Do I have a sleeping bag with me? Well, no. Do I have food, water, anything that would keep me alive other than my jacket in my vehicle? No, I don't. I have a jacket and that's about it. All the water is frozen solid. It ain't coming out. A survivalist would have said, man, you found yourself in a terrible situation. what you need to do is go into the field and build you a snow cave, or go into the woods and build you a tree shelter, an A-frame TP shelter. Collect all the firewood you can. You would have died before you got anything built. It's -20, -30 degrees. You would have died long before you could build anything. The tree line was over 1,000 yards away, so even if I did want to hike through it, I'm hiking in waist-deep snow to get there. And when I get there, what am I going to find? 5, 6 trees maybe 10. That's about it. So instead, even though I was a dumb 18, 19, 20-year-old, I called a buddy, and a buddy came and got me. He came and got me. We went back to base, picked up snow shovels and a couple extra buddies. We went back and we dug my truck out. Just more recently, back in January, I went hiking 10 miles in the wintertime. It had rained that night. I woke up soaking wet. My clothes were wet, my sleeping bag was wet, my hammock's wet. A survivalist would have said, well, hell, just stay in the woods. Right? Tough it out, stay in the woods. Build you a nice little A-frame shelter, build you some sort of debris hut, build a fire even though it had been pouring down rain all night. Build a fire, stay warm, get naked, dry your clothes out, build you a little teepee hut, spend 2 weeks in the woods to build all this awesome stuff. Or, being the smart 30-year-old I am now, I said, piss on this, and I walked back to my car. When I got back to my car, a couple hours later, I was developing hypothermia. I was going into a hypothermic state. I could not do this, and that is the first signs of hypothermia. On my way down the mountain, I drove down the mountain about another 30-40 minutes home, and by the time I got home, my core body temperature was dropping to the point where even the heat blowing out of my vents wasn't even touching me because I was still in soaking wet clothes. I had been in soaking wet clothes since 6 a.m. that morning, and it is now past lunchtime. The survivalist would have said, well, stay put. Stay put, practice your skills. Stay put, try to save your own life. Guys, I would have been dead. There are times and situations you need to know survivalism skills. There are certain skills that you should know how to do. Again, navigation, water filtration, maybe how to build a fire, definitely how to build a debris hut. But the biggest skill, the biggest thing, the most knowledge you can have is how to get out of a situation before it becomes a survival situation. If you think survivalism is the way to go and that is how you want to take your life during a disaster scenario, awesome. Have fun. Bye. Good luck. Best of luck to you. But that's not me. That's not what I'm preparing for. How does survivalism, living in the woods, help you during a Great Depression? You gonna build your little hobo shack in the woods and hope that winter doesn't come, even though it comes around every year? How does it help you during a hyperinflation scenario? It doesn't. Maybe, very small maybe, the wild edibles. And again, you should know some wild edibles in your area. Awesome. But you don't have to be a survivalist to know wild edibles. Survivalism has its purpose. Be knowledgeable of it, but the biggest thing, the best thing, the most smartest thing, the absolutely #1 skill that you need from any survivalist standpoint is know how to get yourself out of a situation before it becomes a survival situation. If you find yourself being a survivalist and you're like, man, I hope he gets in the woods at some point in time and rubs 2 sticks together, good luck. If you want to see bug out bags loadouts, if you want to see bug out bag tests, if you want to see prepping product reviews and prepping discussions, you found the right channel. If you want to go see me live in the woods, you're not on the right channel. If you want to hear me talking about living in the woods, yeah, again, you're on the wrong channel. So guys, have a good day. That's all I got.